Hello everybody, welcome to Programming with C++. Today let us see the general structure of a C++ program. In a program, there is some structure which has to be followed, that is the layout, like what should come first and what should come next. We can't randomly have things just written like that. So structure is nothing but a layout, like what all should come in the first part of the programming, next what should be followed by that, later what. So today let us see the layout to be followed for programming. Okay, we keep saying programming, right? What is programming? Programming is the process of developing and implementing various sets of instruction for performing a particular task. Programming is to solve a particular task. To do that, we have various steps to do that. So first we develop a code, and then we implement it, we execute it, and then this is how our programming is done. Let us see the structure of a C++ program now. It starts with a preprocessor directive, also called as include files. Anything which you have to include or something, all such things will come in that first part of the programming. Next you have class declaration or definition. As you know, C++ is an object-oriented program. The advantages of C++, you would have seen what is an object. Object is nothing but C++ considers everything and anything as an object. So class is the blueprint of object. Hence, if we have something for class, we'll declare it first, and then we'll have the class member function definitions. But preprocessor directive is one which is must in all the programs, whereas class declaration and class member function definitions aren't that much. But if you have it in a program, all should come before the main function. Next you'll have the main function program. Let us see each one by one. Let us go to preprocessor directive. What is a preprocessor directive? It is the first section of a C++ program, and it is very compulsory in a C++ program. It starts with something like #include, in which # is called the preprocessor directive. And then why do you need to include? Include is like we tell the processor that we have to include that files. If we use some certain functions in a program, we tell the processor include that file, so that that function is already defined in them. Directly we can't use them. This is for signaling the processor which runs before the compiler. So compiler starts executing each line by line. So for that to happen, we tell the processor include these functions in it. Hence, the first line of every program will be #include followed by the function name. Next is directing the compiler to include the header files. There are few header files in the C++ library functions. Let us see what they are. You have iostream.h, maths.h, and string.h. iostream is input-output stream.h, in which you'll be using for input-output functions and math is for performing any mathematical operations, and similarly string is for any string operations. So all these three you can have. It's not like everything should be, but whatever functions you're using in a program, you should use them simultaneously. Like for example, if you have some input-output operation in the program, we use #include iostream.h. Next is class declaration or definition. What is a class? Class is a blueprint of objects, and then this describes object data structure and operations. When you have an object, what all operations can that object do? Everything should be declared already. Hence we have the class declaration, and then their defining of functions are declared. Definition of functions are declared. So functions which all you'll be using in the class should also be declared in the class declaration. It's a name under which data and member functions are collected. Next, it divides a large program into small ones. You know modularity of programming, and that can be achieved by classes. And then each objects are independent and small. Next is class function definition. What is a function definition? In the class declaration, we define the functions. So in the first, this class function definition will have definition of the functions, and it can either be within the class or outside the class. like functions can be defined within the class or outside the class. So this block class function definition isn't something like compulsory even if you use class. But if it is outside, there is something like if it is declared outside the class, we should use the scope resolution operator. You know the scope resolution operator, right? We should use that if a function is declared outside a class. But something important is it can be either within the class or outside the class, but it should come before the main function. Hence we say can either be within the class or outside the class, but provided it comes before the main function. Now next, what is a main function? Main function is something which is the fourth part in that, and it is the execution of the program starts from here. Like till now class declaration, definition, and then the preprocessor directive and all, it's not executed from there, but the main function will have something to be executed, and it is user defined. Anything which you want to perform will everything come in the main. It is the place where the task what you want to do will be completed, and then it consists of all declarations, operations, anything printing or any input and output which you need to take from the user. Like if you want something from the user, you ask it in the main. You want to display something to the user, like any output also will be done in this part only. So the declarations, declaring the variables, assigning values, performing operations, everything is done in the main. So this is the place where the execution starts. Next, in main you have something else also which is called as comments, which is a very important part of any programming. What is a comment? Comment helps a person what is going on. Comments are something which are not a part of a program or like doesn't have anything instruction, but comment tells us what is happening in the program. It's just like explaining the program. So comment, okay, compiler ignores it. A compiler doesn't get into a comment. It sees a comment starts, it just ignores it and goes to the next line, and it does not add time, does not take execution time, and does not add to the file size. Like it's something like it's a null or something like that. It doesn't include anything to the file size or time. Execution time is not included for that. Comment is like explaining the user. If, for example, there are 1,000 lines of code and any non-programmer comes and sees that the person will not understand anything. So at that point of time, if you have a comment, it will be like explaining what is really happening. To explain something, we can actually have one line to explain that, or you need multiple lines. Hence comments are also of two types: single line comment, which is just a 2/ or a multi-line comment, which is a slash and an asterisk. Right here you have, okay, in a example of single line comment here I have, you just put 2 slashes and then write whatever you want. Okay, just here we have taken sample program to add 2 numbers. So once a user sees that, the user will understand that the program is to add 2 numbers. Similarly, a multi-line comment is here. Like you have 2 or 3 more lines, or it can be a paragraph also. For that, you need this multi-line comment. Okay, this is the programming structure what we saw now, this part. And then that is the first, you have the header files. Next is the main. Main should always have a return type. Means main is a function, it should return something. Either it can return integer values, floating point values, or it can return nothing. That is called a void. And then within the main, within the opening and closing of a flower braces is the program code statements. What you execute, right, that will come within the main. Let us take an example of a program now. The first program is just, usually any first program will be in hello world. Let us take something similar to that and explain the structure. First you have #include iostream.h. #include is a preprocessor directive. iostream means input output stream.h. Input output means if you have something input or output happening in the program, you use that. Like in this program we have cout. Cout means is an output statement, hence we used iostream. And then that one we have commented it as header file. So this is nothing to do with the execution of the program. Next we have #include conio.h. Conio is another header file in which you will have some functions like clear screen and getch. If you have such functions, we use conio and tell the processor to include such header files. Next you have the main function whose return type is void. Means the function doesn't return anything. It's just a simple function to print something. and the first line of the thing is clear screen. What is a clear screen? Clear screen is the output thing. The output screen will have something already on it, so if you don't want that, you should first clear the screen. Next you have cout sample program. Cout is an output statement which prints an output on the output screen. In that you have something within the double quotes, that is a sample program, so that will be printed on the output screen. Next is getch. Getch is a function under conio.h header file, and what will a getch do? A getch will hold the output screen until a user presses something. Otherwise, after few seconds, it will come back to the terminal. Hence, you use this. Okay, let us see the output of this program. Output of this program will be sample program, because only this one statement gets printed. Rest all just gets executed. Another example of a program. First statement is similarly an hash include iostream.h. Okay, hash include iostream.h. And then you have conio.h followed by void main. And then the first line is clear screen. And then you declare character array. It's an array means it's an array is a matrix which holds character. And then you have cout enter your name, so that line gets printed on the output screen. It gets printed on the output screen. So whatever the user inputs will be taken as an input, right? So next you have an C in A, that is nothing but an input. So what the user inputs will be stored in an array A. So hence we have given it of type character, because we asked the user to input enter your name, he'll obviously input characters. And then again you print cout hello. Hello is within the double quote, so that gets printed. And then we have a new line character /n, so the term it goes to the next line, the pointer, and then A gets printed. What is A? A is holding your name. Okay, let us see the output of the program. First you'll have enter your name, because that's the first cout statement, followed by the user will enter some name. Like here the user has entered ABC. Now that ABC is stored in A. And then next, when this line gets executed, it will be cout hello. So first hello gets printed, and then because of the new line character, it jumps to the next line. And then A. Now because A is not in double quotes, only the value of A gets printed, that is ABC. Okay, this is how our programming structure is. Like first you should have some header files followed. If here we don't use a class, if class is there, we have the classes also. Next followed by the main function, and in the main function you'll have something like some declarations and printing statements, etc. Let us see another example. This example is to add two numbers. Okay, the first three statements are fine, I guess. Next you declare A, B and some are three variables, in which we ask the user to enter two numbers. Hence we have cout enter two numbers, and the user will enter two numbers which are stored in A and B respectively. Hence you have seen A and B. Seen is nothing but the input which takes from the user and stores it into respective variables. Next we perform something which is A plus B, and they assign that to sum. So this is an assignment operation happening. Hence we have commented it as operation. And the output of this will be cout sum of the two numbers is. So this sentence gets printed first, followed by the value. So where is the sum of them stored in? It is stored in a variable sum. Hence this sum, right, the value of that gets printed. Let us see the output of that. Okay, output of that will be, first you'll ask for enter two numbers. User has entered two numbers 2 and 3. Sum of that gets performed, and then here you have sum of two numbers is 5. Respectively, you can do it for subtraction, division, mod, multiplication, print the output statement simultaneously. And accordingly, like you can just tell subtraction of the two numbers is so and so and all like that. Thank you.